Hello, guys. Hey, guys. Hey, it is High Priestess Jamila. Um, it has been a crazy day, and I finally was able to sit down and do some clearing and some thinking and all of that. And I decided to come back on here and talk about your narcissistic family. And I actually spiritually counsel a lot of people who have dealt with narcissistic families, who grew up in narcissistic families. And trust me, the rabbit hole goes very, very deep. A lot of people think that, you know, it's just them being mean to you, but there's all sorts of things. There's sexual perversions, there's mental abuse, there's actual altering of your life, and then when you have children, they will alter their lives if they're not able to control them. So your narcissistic family has taken everybody that loved you. Some of you came from narcissistic uh witch families. You've had families that do witchcraft, okay? They've taken job opportunities from you. They've taken your peace of mind. For some of you, they've even taken your children. That's what leads me to come over here. I never forget when that was happening to me. The reason why they do that is because they want to take away what they know that you love, okay? And that loves you. So that's why they do that. And I never forget when I went through it myself. I was really, I was taken back. I don't ever want to say I was scared because fear is not something that I process. Just to let y'all know. I've been watching scary movies since I was a baby. I don't get scared of stuff, but I was concerned. And I never forget, I immediately, what my instinct was when I went through it the past 3 or 4 years, was to grab a beef tongue and make a honey jar, to put my children's names in it, to put their pictures in it, to pray because, I knew that what was happening to me shouldn't have been happening. It was so totally wrong. And, somehow I knew that whole time that the worst that could possibly happen didn't happen. And that was one of the things that I was able, along with my career, which is why I always come and tell you guys that, you don't have to struggle financially. But see, the same thing with the narcissists. If you could fix them, if you could take them an apple pie that would make them better, they wouldn't accept it because they have shut off that area within themselves, within their heart. There's chambers of their heart that are closed. And, I know that there's a lot of people that say, I'm going to perform a miracle. There are some people that say that I am foolish for saying that I save the world, which I believe that I do. But I think what's even more foolish is for you to stick around and try to change a bunch of people that don't want to change. They just don't want to. If they did, they wouldn't feel right because then they wouldn't be in their spirit. That is the spirit that they're in. And many of you, y'all see that narcissist family tree right there? Okay, hello. The enabler, the main enabler is the one that is going to say, oh, we love you. But no, you don't. Because if you loved me, You wouldn't try to control me into being something that I don't want to be, or into doing something that I don't want to do. If you loved me, you would respect my decision. Anybody in this world, anybody, it could be a lover. They like, hey, I got to go all off and I got to do this, and I can't deal with you right now. And and sometimes you just have to be okay with that and have faith and trust that this is happening for a reason. I know that the very first time I fell in love, or I thought I was in love, I didn't want to let him go at all. I was trying to do spiritual work on him. I was trying to get him back. And until one day a spirit came to me and said, just let go. Just let it go. And from that moment on, it was a journey for me. And now, because I never was angry with him, I just was really sad. But now I appreciate him because he brought a lot of understanding of self. He told me about myself, and it wasn't anything to do with any lesbianism or anything like that. He let me know in a lot of different ways what I was doing wrong. And back then I wasn't near about the person that I am now. I had issues back then, like like I used to have issues, and especially getting out of that abusive relationship. Hold on, guys. Getting out of that abusive relationship, I was shell shocked. I was so negative. I didn't even realize it. I had to have him tell me, and for him to let me know, hell, I might have been in love with you. I think I was, but then you did that negative stuff and I had to walk away. And that was a lesson that I had to learn. Okay. Because I think that the reason why the abusive relationship happened, because the demon that was being thrusted into me was the narc demon. I've never been a full narc, but I remember, looking at people, guys, and I will admit to this, I'm purging my sins. I remember, looking at TV and always judging how somebody looked. I'm so glad I'm no longer that person. I grew. My frequencies are higher. And, when I think back, being in an abusive relationship is soul shattering. It is. It is. I wish that they knew how they made us feel. Um, and I was in a low place. So what I had to do was I had to talk about other people to make myself feel better. And it wasn't that I felt ugly or anything like that, even though he would call me ugly all the time. That's the narc's thing. That's the abusive man's thing, is to call you ugly, so that it'll mess with your self-esteem and make you feel like you're undeserving. But, I don't believe in ugly. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to looks, I think that there are so many different ways that a person can look. And, especially being on YouTube, you see a lot of people that look different, but they're still beautiful. You know what I'm saying? So I don't like I'm a totally different person. This was, how long ago? That was, okay. Let me do the calculations. Okay. I had Danielle in 2013. No, 2003. I said 2013. You're right. That would be a big 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, wouldn't it? So this had to have been, that was then. And when I don't even want to say that because she got upset the last time I said it, but I had just had Deja. Deja was 3 months old, and I wasn't ready for another baby. But of course, he forced me anyway to have her. And I'm glad that I did. Of course, I had her. But, the thought of, maybe I shouldn't have this baby went through my head because he didn't have a job. And I never forget the night that I told him, and I told my daughter about this. I don't think she listens to me on YouTube anyway. But I was sitting there, and coincidentally, there was another person that was there that I will not mention. But I think he got really upset because I told him, I said, I don't know if I should keep this baby. I don't think I can, we already got, hell, Tyrese was only 2. Deja was 3 months old. And you know what he did? He looked at me and he said, "You ugly." And then, there was Danielle. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all he had to say. It was a trigger word for me. I don't, and I think it wasn't what he said, it was what he felt or what he was feeling. And it made me feel bad that I even thought about it. So, of course, you know, 9 months later, there was my little mama. And I just, you know what I'm saying? So, and he was definitely a narc. He's a Cancer male. So, y'all do the math on that one. Cancer males can be very manipulative. Okay. They're like natural magicians. They can mess with you from, across they can mess with you from across the world. And I never forget when I met him, because I didn't know him from Adam, but he said, "I know you from somewhere." And maybe it was a previous life. I have no idea. But anyway, so I was a different person back then. And I honestly think that the guy that I fell in love with, I think he was an angel. In fact, he was a rapper. And I went to one of his, not a concert, but it was more like he was performing at a club. And I took a picture of him. And I swear to God, the wings showed up on camera. I used to have that picture. I think my mother still has the picture though, because she has everything. My mother keeps everything. So she has nude pictures of me and everything. I'm like, "Mom, why do you have nude pictures of me?" "Well, if you don't want them, delete them." I'm like, oh Lord. Anyway, so I'm sure she has it, but it was so weird. And I knew it. I said this. And then that's when I started figuring out that, why he came into my life. And it was to teach me something. And he did. And I'm forever grateful for what he did. You know what I'm saying? He's a really cool guy. Very, very attractive. He had a lot of sex appeal. And back in the day, I thought he was the devil. I was like, this dude is the devil. I can't stop thinking about him. But it wasn't about him. It was about what he was teaching me. So, people, if you obsessed with a person, and I was kind of obsessed with him. Okay, I stalked the hell out of that dude. I did. I was driving past his house. It was a trip, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I used to kind of be a stalker too, y'all. But I saw him after that, and it was cool after that. But looking at now, you know, if you have a narcissistic family, getting back on subject, y'all. You have a narcissistic family and that wants to control you or use you for whatever purpose. You're not going to necessarily know until you start doing something good. And I was doing good things then. Like I said, I've always kept jobs. I have never been somebody that was lazy. I used to get up in the morning and jump on the highway every single day to get to work. So, I worked, I was in the workforce, and they call it a workforce for a reason, but I was in the workforce for since I was 16 years old. And Spirit was, I mean, they still are. They just shining down on me. They like, yeah, this is where you're supposed to be. And, not to worry about, other stuff because, they'll get over it. They'll be okay. You know what I'm saying? So, but when it comes to narcissistic people and when you have that family, they automatically create challenges because they isolate you. They isolate you. You know, everybody that comes into your life, you know, and it gets real disgusting, y'all. It does. It just gets to the point where is the self-respect? I mean, they will sleep with your man. They will hunt him, and if the man don't want to sleep with him, they'll hunt him down. Like, what? You don't, you know, well, let's say, you know, they'll start sending in, you know, hoes for hire. And so, I mean, these people are a trip, especially if they can sense somebody love you. Oh, they gonna work very hardcore. So, you know, they've taken people from you. They have. They've taken a lot from you. The way they were able to take from you, though, is through you. You allowed it. You did. When you think about it, you allowed it. Especially in this day and age, in the past 10 years. You know, there was definitely an energy shift when I moved, which was in 2011 or 2012 when we moved to Lawrence? I think it was 2012. So that was definitely an energy shift. And then another shift happened when I moved over here to Georgia in 2015, which was exactly 3 years later. So, and that was a trip because I'm shocked. I was shocked myself. How did I manage to drive? I drove myself. And literally a day before that, I could barely drive down the street. My anxiety was so bad. The further and the further and the further I got away from that oppressive energy, the more the anxiety lifted. And I started to feel unchained. I started to feel free. I started to feel stronger. Now, I don't exactly know what's going on over in Kansas and Missouri, but maybe it's some frequencies coming up out the ground or something. I know that, you know, I am not afraid of Kansas City, Missouri, but I don't want to be there and I don't want my children there. So it's definitely a struggle because, you know, I believe that Kansas City is going to be nuked one day. And all of those people in the Midwest, they're going to either have to go as further up north or south as possible. That's what I truly believe. And you know what? If it's not a nuclear, then it's bio weapons, you know, some kind of biological weapon. It just, I know that I sound like a crazy person, and that's fine because, you know, I'm sane, you know, but it just, I trust my spirits. You know what I'm saying? So, and then there's other stuff that I'm not going to get into. You know, they're literally, yeah, I'm not going to get into that. All I got to say is location, location, location matters. It does. You can't just, you know, go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? And Kansas City, Missouri was just a stop that my grandfather was making. He actually wanted to leave Kansas City, but got stuck there. So yeah, I do communicate with my grandfather, Nathaniel Boston, which is why I believe that he committed suicide in his basement. He died of carbon monoxide poisoning in his garage. And then I lived in me and my mother and my father actually lived in that house that he died in. Okay, years later. So, you know, people need to be grateful for people that are connected with spirit that can give them those kinds of signs and warnings. And I think I had given my mother signs and warnings since I was born, but she wasn't in the spirit enough to recognize what I was trying to say to her. So she just kind of became a part of that negative spirit. In fact, let me tell you something about narcissistic mothers, especially when they begin to get worse and they start decaying and the situation gets worse and worse. It is almost like the zombie apocalypse. Narcs are zombies. And you know what? It can be somebody that you love that's a narcissist. And that damn thing just uses them as zombies. It uses them to just mess people up. And it, like I said, it works with that poverty demon and that patriarchal demon. And it got worse. It got worse and worse. It's a triple threat. You know, I believe that, narcissistic people think that they're smart, but what they don't see what other people see. Because what we see is a very robotic person that is being controlled by a demon, especially when they're doing evil stuff. It compels them. It compels them. They can't help it. That's why every single day they do the same thing over and over again. They can't stop. And the sad part about it is that can't nobody help them but them. They actually made a movie about that on Netflix. I'm over here watching Netflix right now, and I thought I'd come on here. I was watching Carrie. They actually made a movie, though, about a woman that became possessed by a demon. It said, I got to find that movie. She became possessed by a demon, and then the demon was using her to do awful things. I mean, she was just doing awful stuff, and her spirit was actually trapped somewhere. So her spirit had to awaken in order to beat that demon. So it's the same principle with narcs, because to be honest with you, y'all think that y'all just so lucky that y'all alive. That's literally how narcs will have you thinking, well, at least I got, a refrigerator full of food, and at least I'm alive, but you're not fulfilled. What they've done is they've taken everything that could have fulfilled you in life and ruined it. So you don't have to shoot somebody to kill them. Narcs will eventually kill your spirit if you let them, and they have broken so many people. They've broken them so that they can conform to do what they want to do. It takes a very strong mind to get out of the psychological stuff of that narcissistic abuse, and they all do the same thing. And if you listen to them, they do act like little children. Oh, I'm gonna laugh at you because you was musty. What? I'm supposed to be musty. I'm a human being. If you sweating and you don't wear cancer-causing antiperspirant deodorants, and if you got some, maybe some toxins that are coming out of you, if you don't take a bath and shave them armpits, you're going to be a little musty. That's called being human. You see how weird it is? How being human, something wrong with that. And they carry out that agenda. I'm not going to call it Agenda 21, but listen, antiperspirant deodorants are taking more people out than guns and violence alone. I am totally at liberty to share that with you guys. I've been sharing it for years. And there's still people that mindlessly get up, and many of them are narcs, because they don't want to be caught being imperfect. Being perfect is an illusion. It's a control method. It's something that controls them. So you die so that you can appear to be perfect. So, it's It's pathological for them. They can't be, but it's something else controlling narcissistic people. And you better be careful falling for narcissistic people stuff, because then you will become just like that. Trust me. I just got out of something like that. I mean, I'm a hell of a roaster, but it's not something that I want to do. It's not in my spirit. I ain't never did no stuff like that. I'm very articulate, intelligent, in my opinion. And I could roast somebody down into the floor, but for what? Why would I want to do that? So that again, that influence, okay? They can put a certain influence off on you. And the cleanses are the potion. Even if you can only do 2 cleanses per year, that is going to be your potion, is them cleanses. Because when you clear that stuff away, you can think straight, even if you in the same room with them. That's why they don't want you burning no candles, because they don't know what you burning that candle for. That demon is like, what you doing? What you burning that candle for? Them narcissistic people, boy, they will blow out your candles and say, we, nah, we in this hell, and we gonna take it. Why, I don't know, but that's what they do. So you guys, stop letting them take stuff from you. Start understanding that witchcraft is going to be your best bet. Even if you go the police route, you're still going to need to use witchcraft. How do you think? Well, number one, I'm an innocent mother. I've never done anything to my child or any child. But I was going to say that got pretty deep. It was my spirits and my calm disposition, and the fact that you can look in my eyes and you can tell my eyes ain't rolling all around in my head. People look at me, they know I'm smart instantly. I don't have problems with the police. They don't mess with me because they already know I'm protected. So I ain't never had those issues. You know what I'm saying? Only when I was young and kind of weak. And you know why? Those horrible things that those narcs were trying to do to me didn't work, because I got the beef tongue. I did the protection over my house, okay? If you have a narc that has went that far to where they are, trying to lie on you and bear false witness to you, you gotta give up that blood. You gotta take that, you gotta get that cow tongue. This is something that has worked for people for years. And especially if you are trying to get somewhere further than what you've been shown. They'll even try to make you feel bad because you're trying to get somewhere in life, because you have desires and things that you want. They'll try to make you feel like you have to accept less. And for what? Like, what does it bother you? Because they are accepting less. They're very codependent. Most narcs are codependent. And you don't want to be that narc, because they don't promote narcs. What was the last company that you saw promoted a narcissist? They don't get promotions. They lose out on everything. They're being dealt with by spirit. So that's why they're so angry every single day. If you doing right and you done either gave your life over to God, which yeah. But or if you have ascended in some kind of way, they don't like that. So what they do is they use the system against you. I mean, these narcs are so desperate that they will use racism, sexism, the Bible, what somebody else's idea with. Well, you know what, Jamila, I saw somebody said that all single mothers should be killed and we should take their children. Really? And you thought that was gonna get you thought you was gonna get that over. I am very cocky. but my spirits is telling you that I have to be, because I am the chariot. I am a representation of the balance of male and female. That's why I'm so strong. It ain't nothing you can do about that. You're not gonna break me down. It's not gonna happen. When I'm in a situation where I can be a woman fully, then that's what I'll do. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, women have to be strong, because they'll take everything from you. Now, thank you, Rochelle. Thank you, sweetheart. How you been? You don't know who to vote for. I don't even get into that stuff. But I wish that you know what? I think that witches should. I think that we should even manipulate the outcome. I think that this last run has been a lesson, but I don't know much about. I've heard certain things about Trump. I heard his speech at the hearing. No wonder he's got so much support, because he's when he speaks, he knows what to say. But I have felt a lot of negative energy since he's been into office. And, should we blame that on the president necessarily? You possibly could, especially when certain stuff is kicking off. But, I don't think that necessarily the president can necessarily control everything that goes on. They don't really have control over that. So, so for me, I don't know. I believe that Democrats, I voted Democrat for years, and you want to vote Republican because you kind of understand and feel what they're saying about that social independence and that independence. But then again, I wouldn't want to be on their side either, because they are so, focused on protecting, what they have built, that they don't accept people like me. So to be honest with you, a witch and a single mother, we're not accepted by either side. We have to vote liberal. So if I were to vote, I would vote for the other guy. I wouldn't vote either Democrat or Republican. Okay, because I don't usually watch the elections. I don't get into that stuff. I'm bored with it. I don't even see a need for it, to be honest with you. So, I think that's crazy to have certain hatred for certain people. But, I was looking at this show on Netflix called Drugs Incorporated. And there does seem to be a lot of drugs that are being smuggled in and out of the country. But I think that there's an even bigger elephant in the room that is not being addressed. And I'm not even going to bring that up right now, because we are already talking about this. But I think that, narcs do play a hand in keeping that child sex slave industry popping. I do. I think I think narcissistic people, some narcs, all narcissistic people don't believe in, child sacrifice or child rape, but there's a lot of them that do. And, being a narc is the red flag for somebody that, might not, this is somebody you don't want to get involved with. Okay. Real talk. So, stop letting them take things from you. Stop letting them take your energy. They've been draining everybody. They've been scattering people. It's a lot of people out here that are scattered. A lot of people scared. I don't want to say too much about this so-called outbreak or something that they, you know what? I'm going to tell you something. Why fear it? The more you fear it, the worse it's going to be. That's all I'm going to say about that, because I don't want them to take down my channel. But all I gotta say to you is just like them 3 asteroids that we had coming towards the Earth for the past few years, this too shall pass. Probably nobody that you know will get sick with that stuff unless they travel and around the country and stuff like that, So, just know that God got that. Okay. I've been meaning to come and talk to y'all about that. But see, I don't want them to, but I think that people would actually be relieved, because I think that, people genuinely get, afraid of stuff like that because, but I don't know, I feel like when we die, God just switches us to another reality sometimes. I don't really believe in death. I know y'all think I'm crazy for that, because some of y'all, when I'm, about 200 or 300 years old, y'all gonna be attending my funeral because I'm gonna decide, well, it's time to go. I'm 300 now. Y'all gonna be like, oh, I thought you didn't believe in death. I'm gonna wake up and say, hey, I chose it. I was ready to go. Y'all, it's just, yes. Yeah. Yeah, I want to say that, but they've sort of forbidden us from saying that. But, I just will tell you that this too shall pass. Okay. That's why I said they need to quit messing around and just get some of these spiritual healers. Instead of them, having, they need to do an experiment, but they, a lot of people like, I ain't experimenting with my life like that. Well, some people don't have no choice, because some people can't afford them doctor bills, and they done went to healers and been healed. Okay. And if you are not an authentic healer, please don't heal people. Do not tell people that you can heal them. Don't do it, because what you'll do is you'll take that disease from them and you'll carry it with you. Because healers, the whole point of being a healer is because they're going to heal, like from whatever is passed to them, they're going to heal from it. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not healing from it, then you're probably not a healer. That's a big title to carry. And I'd be careful with it, because it ain't nothing to mess with, because I've healed people before. I offer healing work. And I've had to stay in the bed for 3 or 4 days before. Not that I was sick of coughing or dying or anything like that, but it took a lot out of me to heal that person. But they definitely were healed. And then I jumped back up just like you know, just like Jesus did, went on some walks and stuff, said, let me get myself built back up. So, um, what we want to do is we want to start pulling people in their 20s, in their teens, catching them while they early. It's too many people that woke up too late because there was a it was like a mass hysteria, like a mass sleep. Everybody was asleep. And then all of a sudden, everybody just started awakening. That's when your spirit awakens and you have that epiphany. You go, oh my God, this is it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why I've been channeling Michael Jackson. I was listening to, y'all know that video that I put up, the one with me singing. It was for Valentine's Day. That's why I did that. And y'all notice how the numbers of the video say 1, 2, 3. So when I saw that, I was like, wow, I said it's exactly 1 minute and 23 seconds. So I was listening to ABC 1, 2, 3 by the Jackson 5 and stuff. And when I saw that, yeah, Michael Jackson, I believe he truly is an angel or some sort of. When I did that reading on him, I'm noticed I'm not getting as many comments on that Michael Jackson video, because I used to get comments. I wonder if I shut down. I think I may have shut down the comments on it. I'm gonna open them back up, because this person just kept coming to me, harassing me. It was the same person. They just was coming from different troll accounts. But they just kept harassing me on that video. I said, good Lord, I'm busy. I got stuff to do. I was dealing with too much stuff. Sometimes if you're dealing with too much stuff, you got to close the door on something. Just say, hey, listen, it's too much stuff going on. So, you know, yeah. I'm drinking lemonade, y'all. Many of those demons, you're going to have to beat them, like that demon of alcoholism. That's a bad demon. You know what I'm saying? In fact, I felt like my vibrations and my frequencies have been so much higher. I did have some Merlot last night, but prior to that, I hadn't drank anything. And it's not because I didn't have the money, because I could, you can go and get alcohol cheap. You can go and get a thing of Mad Dog 2020 for probably $2 or $3. So, narcissism, many people that grew up with, a lot of you guys that are alcoholics, drug addicts, you guys grew up with things that you were trying to escape from. You were trying to self-medicate. So there's a lot of special, important people that were on drugs or had addictions. It was. So, somebody that either had addiction in the past or struggled with it, you can't discredit them for that, because, they were just doing what they could to get by. Maybe they were dealing with more. You can't really judge people. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Now, if a person is not trying to change, I've learned a lesson as far as with, working with certain people that, have those problems, because, I don't mind working with addiction recovery and stuff like that. But as long as you are trying and, you're not, you have your heart in the right place, because, I've only smoked marijuana, but I think the alcohol was the biggest thing. And when I found out that that guy from True Blood had died of congestive heart failure because he was trying to kick alcohol, a lot of people avoided that because they was like, whoa. And so, I was kind of I've been channeling his spirit and everything. And so, that's definitely a risk, when the body gets used to having a substance in it, it's not going to want to function without it. So many of us came from these narcissistic families, and we're dealing with addiction right now. In fact, if you came from a narcissistic family where there was drug addiction, 9 times out of 10, all the men that you've attracted to you have either had a severe drug problem or alcohol addiction. You attract those people, you know what I'm saying? Because this is the energy that is familiar to you. And so it's kind of unfair because, the black sheep, golden child of the family, which I believe that if you're the only child, you're going to exist as both. But, what the black sheep has to do, and it's totally unfair, but eventually the black sheep going to have to cut ties. They going to have to cut ties completely. They can't be around that. Because, the family is still going to do the same thing. It'd be nice if you could go to them and say, hey guys, hey, let's try to quit drinking. Let's try to get along better. Let's try to talk about things calmly without yelling and screaming and getting our blood pressure up. Let's be supportive of one another. They'll look at you like you crazy. Girl, yeah, if you say that to your narc family, you know what they're going to say to you? They're going to shame you out the damn front door. So it ain't even worth saying it to them. That's all you can do. I know it's difficult. I know it's hard because you feel like, well, Jamila, I don't want to be alone like you. Well, I'm not alone. I got Michael Jackson. No, I'm joking, y'all. I do, y'all. I don't know why. For some reason, for some reason, Michael Jackson, he comes into my consciousness all the time. Probably through his music. And he was so loved. Everybody loves Michael Jackson. So I have a lot of friends that I've made past few years. They just not all of them live in the same state, but I do have friends in this state that I don't really, of course, let me tell you something. Get to the point where one day you don't even have to talk about it. Like, okay, y'all remember, y'all know I love movies, but y'all remember in Pet Sematary? Y'all remember when the wife was telling the husband about the family, like when she told him the truth about her family? That was an entire marriage, wedding ring, commitment, and 2 kids later that she told him about Zelda. So, try not to even discuss negative things, because when you discuss those negative things, that's why I'm getting used to, when I come on my channel, I do have to talk to my people, because many of you are stuck as a prisoner in these narcissistic families. So, that's the whole point of the relevance, when you're able to see this is what you're going to have to face eventually, is the truth, which, they're going to let you know, no, I never loved you. Yes, I was always faking. Yes, you were only there for my own agenda. And when you were not, when you were no longer there to serve me completely and not serve yourself, when you start serving yourself and you start spoiling yourself, then there's supply. Like, what are you doing? You using your energy for that and not what I need. That's the reason why narcissistic husbands don't let their wives work, because they just want her at their disposal at all times, which I'm not judging you if you do that. If your husband is able to support your family and that's what you do, then more power to you. But I think about probably maybe 60 to 70% of men in this world suffer from poverty. So the funny part about it is that, men in their manly man patriarchy hurts them as well. And that's why there's actually men that are smart enough to agree with me. Makes sense. Even though men that's why they argue with feminism, because, the feminists, they don't really say what they want to say, which is everything that I say. They say things like, oh, well, you're not giving us equal pay. And the men are like, what are you talking about? I make $5 an hour. You know what I'm saying? So it just, let's talk about the real stuff. Let's talk about the root of the problem and how we're going to actually solve this as a human race. Number one, everybody going to have to just admit to their mistakes. See, this is going to be a purge when people start to admit when they're wrong. This is going to clear up 95% of the war in this world. It's just going to clear it all up. They won't actually listen to my words because it's coming from me. Somebody else will say it, and then it'll take tread. And that's okay, though, because at least I'm planting those seeds in the minds of people so that they can understand, what needs to be done. I don't believe in how the Bible is being interpreted. We've had so many different doomsdays coming up. It's ridiculous. There is no doomsday. Please stop saying it. It's not that I'm afraid of it, because I'm not necessarily afraid of death. I more so just don't accept it, probably because I like life so much. All that a red dragon is going to come out of the sea. and all of that, that's up for a certain type of interpretation. Okay, you have to, so, at the end of the day, when you think most people, and we are living in a very narcissistic world, they say everybody got a touch of the downs, the narcissism. I think I'm probably maybe 3%. 3% narc every now and then. And that's only because they managed to get in my head and piss me off. And I'll start acting narcissistic a little bit. But other than that, the rest of the time, I'm me. I don't allow that demon to control me. And I hate when it attacks. It comes for the kids too. I hate that. So, stop letting them. You have to truly feel, but see, they have messed with you since you were born. They were programming you since you were in their womb. Yeah, little baby, when you're born, you're going to help me clean up this house. Yeah, I'm going to have you clean up my room too. Yeah, little baby, your mother was programming you from the time that you were in her womb. And that's what went into you. So when you came out, that's when the seed was already planted, and they just continue to put more subconscious blockages in you to the point where many of you can't survive on your own. I mean, we sitting up here looking at a lot of these men that can't make it out there on their own, but you got to look at the mama. You got to look at the mama's mama. And you got to figure out, well, what the hell did this person do? Why was it, why is it so many people having a hard time surviving, let alone getting ahead in life? Well, see, that's your root chakra, which developed between the ages of 0 and 5. If you were raised, oh, thank you, True Crimes. Thank you. Appreciate you coming. And if you were raised in that situation, then, you're going to be very limited in what it is that you can do, because the hold that narcissist demon has on you. So, for example, even if you're the golden child, I don't know why everybody always jealous of the golden child. The golden child gonna get it worse than the black sheep. Because eventually that golden child, if they try to step outside of being anything else except for the narc enabler, the narc is gonna turn on them just like that. So even the narc butt kissers, y'all better get prepared, because one day you're gonna have that spark of that divine, and it's gonna come to you, and then you're gonna go to the narc, and they and you thinking that they was on your side. And they're going to say, what the hell are you talking about? You ain't doing that. And you're going to go, what? After all of the service that I've given to you, oh dark one? They're going to say, get out of here. Get out of my face. You doing too much. You thinking too much. You dreaming too much. You visualizing too much. That's why they keep you in arguments and confusion every day. You might be in your bedroom meditating as a 13-year-old, and they coming in there and talking to you about why you leave a cup in the sink. I'm sorry, I thought cups belonged in the damn sink. That, you know what I'm saying? So it's preposterous, but at the same time, there's a disruption of the frequency from your spirit guides. They disrupt that frequency all the damn time. Every time things start flowing for you, they want to disrupt it. So that's why. So I know a lot of people was like, she got them voodoo dolls and that cauldron over there. She seemed like she doing some evil stuff. Actually, it's the most gentlest form of magic that you can use. And it's, and then also you got to think about, those entities and spirits, drowning them is the best way to do it. So that's a ritual that I'm going to be doing quite often for clients, brought to you by Yemi Ya. Yeah. People will be jealous of the golden child, but I've never been jealous of, hold on a second, child. So when my grandmother was alive, I was kind of seen as the golden child. Okay, me and my cousins. Okay, but mainly me, because it was obvious that my grandmother she took a special liking to me. It was so obvious. It was like, I spent a lot of time with my grandmother growing up. So it was natural, you know what I'm saying? And you just felt safe. You just knew that nothing would ever, you know what I'm saying, happen to you when you were around this person. And so, I felt like some of my cousins were a little jealous of me because she even gave me a nickname and they didn't have nicknames. It was just me. So, I don't think my grandmother did it intentionally. I think that she favorited who favored her because I favored her. I did everything for my grandmother. I would make her coffee in the morning. I just did it. And it wasn't that she didn't even, I did stuff for my grandma that she didn't even have to ask me to do. I would clean up her whole house daily, kept her house spotless. She didn't never tell me to do that. Now, my auntie and them, we would clean up too. No, I wasn't just cleaning up, but I would do it for my grandmother. I would, you know what I'm saying? And it made her happy. It made her life easier. You know what I'm saying? And so I think a lot of people was kind of jealous of that because they knew. Sorry about that, guys. I had some favors come through. That was nothing but a sign. As soon as I started, I'm back, y'all. I'm not gonna be here too much longer though. So I was the one that kept the house clean, and so the family would come over and they would just make a big old mess. I used to hate that. Okay, you know. So my grandmother had her house was. I just remember like every y'all. Somebody may not want me to talk about my grandma. That's my grandma. I can talk about my grandma and love on her and admire her if I want to. I was thinking about my aunt Regina too. I miss her a lot, man. I used to hang out with them a lot. I didn't even hang out with younger folks. I just hung out with them. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know why it keeps blipping out like that, y'all. My bad. I think I don't know. Somebody might be trying to mess with y'all. Trying to mess with my hangout. No, I'm joking. Uh-huh. Oh, okay, true crimes. That's cool. So, okay. Now that I'm back, this is what I want to tell y'all. The only way that you can get back what the narc has taken from you is witchcraft. Ain't that funny? And they told you to stay away from witchcraft. Well, maybe they lied to you. Okay? Maybe they was lying. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? There's been a lot of trends and trendsetters that have started bad trends that, kind of took off and you know what I'm saying? So that is what's going to free you because narcissism was created by witchcraft. That's how that's why we have this problem is because of witchcraft. Most of the religions, witchcraft. You know what I'm saying? So when you start opening your eyes to seeing that and you start realizing, well, you're just doing the same thing that I'm doing, but the only thing is that you're saying that it's Jesus would be the only difference. You see what I'm saying? So, and that narcissism thing and that patriarchy, it did start with that Bible. And you know what irritates my spirits more than anything is that all this struggle ain't even necessary, but it was created and now we got to get out of it. What's really sad is when people don't want everybody to make it. Like for me, I want everybody to make it. I want everybody to benefit. I want everybody to prosper that wants to. But you got people that, they always want to try to bring you down. And narcs don't want you to have nothing. They used to have a saying in my family. Sometimes I felt like my family was kind of like a cult. Cult-like. Let's say cult-like. Especially after my grandmother passed. That's when it really got wicked. And they had these little sayings that they would say. And my uncle's wife used to say, chappies never prosper. Chappies is children. Now, why was she saying that over and over again? That it's something bizarre about them. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I believe they want to bring about the end of the world. Bring about the end of the world. That's your world. You can't bring about the end of the world for everybody. They like, oh, well, I'm not happy in this world, so let it all end for everybody. No. Okay, you make your choices and other people make theirs. A lot of the issues that you may have, being overweight is a choice. Being broke is a choice. Being wealthy is a choice. Being happy, it's a choice. None of you technically have to have anything that happens to you that you don't want to happen to you. But because you grew up in this narcissistic family, you were taught to accept less. You were taught to be less than who you actually were. You were taught to expect less. You were taught to ask for less. All those things were programmed in you, probably because the narc didn't want to spend the money on you. Y'all, let me tell you something. And it goes even deeper with the rabbit hole. I have, spoken with people that had a hex on their throat chakra. And literally it was, they was in a very alone position because it was, the energy was of antitrust. So they really didn't have nobody to run to. Okay. And it was because when they were kids, they were molested and they may have talked too much, or maybe they felt like, this child is going to talk. So we need to mess with, shut them up. And we want to shut them up so that they're not speaking no truth. And then next thing you know, you become a liar as an adult because you've been taught to lie. Narcs teach you to lie, especially if you grew up in a narcissistic, abusive environment. They taught you to lie, cheat, steal. They taught you all of those things that, to take away your self-respect. They may have even groomed you to do certain things. And this can be very triggering. But it's good for you to get triggered because you have to have that memory inside of yourself to unearth that. So this is why people very often, when I do readings for them, they just break down and they start crying. Because that is that energy coming off of you. Crying is our body's natural way of processing pain and suffering. Then when you teach little boys not to cry, what do you think they're going to become as adults? Extremely confused individuals. Because a lot of them won't even cry in private. You can tell. And if you don't cry, you're just going to dry up. You can tell people that cry a lot because, they seem to have more supple skin or something. You know what I'm saying? Crying is actually good for you. Especially if you feel the need to let something out, just let it out because that's a blessing. Most people cry when they're blessed. If you get blessed with something that you really, really wanted, you're going to cry. So that is that blockage being removed, because that narc demon don't want you feeling your emotions. It wants you to be a soldier in its fake war. And that's it. A fake war, a war that doesn't even exist. Really, racism, sexism, nice try. Let's not do that again. So basically what it did was it used all of our differences against each other. You know, Spirit always tells me, every time you help somebody, you bring about peace on this earth, which is the truth. And that's why I'll never stop doing what I'm doing, no matter what somebody does to me, no matter what they say to me, no matter how they threaten me. You know what I'm saying? I am definitely bound to, the spirit in that way. And it's not a negative, bad thing. You know what I'm saying? I don't wish I could do something else. You know what I'm saying? I could do something else. I don't have a criminal record. I've got 20 years of work experience. I could go get a job, but I don't want to. So it's not like I do this because I don't have a choice. I do it because why would I do anything else? Why was I ever doing anything else? You know what I'm saying? Why are any of us doing anything else? I'm going to tell you something. I do love modern society, but why everybody trying to get away from it? All this modern day technology, people trying to go escape to islands and stuff, y'all. People, to be able to go and buy you a burger and some fries, or go get you some ribs, versus, going out hunting and stuff like that. People like their conveniences, and, nothing wrong with that. ATM machines, everything is right there. I dig it. In fact, the way that it was visualized years ago is that we're supposed to be like the Jetsons. So a lot of us kids that grew up during that time, y'all remember the Jetsons? See, we had intelligent cartoons back then. These cartoons that they showing, I'd rather my kid look at the cartoons I looked at as a kid. Because technically, a lot of us indigo children and special children, we were supposed to be manifesting that Jetson reality, which we kind of did. We are flying around in cars, but I'm talking about no, we are flying around in planes, but we're supposed to have flying cars by now. Technically, they not gonna do it because people are too ignorant. People will be, crashing into each other mid-air. We ain't ready for that yet. But they wanted us to visualize this Jetson society and manifest it. The children that grew up during that time. And in fact, they probably wanted us to manifest it as adults too. Now, who is they? The ascended masters, the, spirit, the source, the spirits that created us. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I can see them, but to be able to necessarily explain them, I can't really do that. I just know that I can see them, feel them, and they, always manifest themselves in my life, and always for the good. And yes, they do teach me lessons. So, as a practitioner, I've even made mistakes. I feel like a lot of the mistakes that I made is so that I can stop others that are coming up from making those mistakes, especially if you are an apprentice of mine. So this would be a good time for me to start taking apprentices, especially being that, and I should have been doing that for the last 3 months, is focusing on teaching. But that's okay though. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, getting back to what I was saying. I know that there's a lot of people that they don't want a solution to the problem. They'll ask for a solution, but then they'll blot out and block out the solution to the problem. You know, a lot of people are asking, well, this is going on and that is going on. And I think sometimes they just like to argue. People just like to argue and yell about something. They just want to be heard about something. So many people are not used to being heard. So if they find something to talk about, they gon' use that because they ain't used to being heard. Ain't nobody been listening to them. And, you know, if you're going to be a reader, you have to be a good listener because spirits is whispering to you. They telling you stuff. It's not a voice. It's a sixth sense that you get when a spirit is telling you something. So when you learn to unclog those ears, which that tinnitus was the start of that. Remember when you guys had the ringing in the ears, the swooshing in the ears? Why it sound like we was underwater? Was that Yemi Ya? Who was that was causing that swooshing in our ears? Because we all went through it, remember? Everybody universal had this swooshing in their ears and the ringing of the ears. And a lot of people are still having it to this day. I don't have that anymore. You're welcome, Leslie. Yes, I agree. God is good. God is good. So, you know, and I know a lot of people are going to try to avoid that because a lot of people are afraid. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, you don't have to be afraid of it because you have somebody there supporting you. Because going through those spiritual changes, you're going to need a support system. And I do give spiritual support to my clients. If you guys need me for anything, if you say, hey, Jamila, you know, if it's a separate issue or if it's an issue that I need to discuss with you on a reading, I'll say, hey, can you buy a reading? But other than that, while I'm doing work for you, you can call me every single day because there is going to be, especially for empaths. Empaths are going to need emotional support and they're going to need kindness and patience is what they're going to need. So, yeah, I had it for a couple of years. It was driving it. I thought it was going to drive me crazy. And it was almost like something was calling to you, though. And then as soon as you figured it out, it went away. Like I noticed that instantly. So it's almost like holding a seashell up to your ear and you can hear the ocean. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like a lot of us are children of Yemi Ya. It don't matter what race you are. I feel like all of us are children of Yemi Ya. Because she is, you know, the mother. She's a manifestation of the mother, of Mother Earth. You know, she's the water. She's breast milk. She's the amniotic fluid that protected you for 10 months. So you know, but it depends on who you interpret that as, you know. I think that working with other deities is okay. Like, you know how a lot of people say, well, you know, white people shouldn't work with this deity or this person shouldn't. I don't believe in that because I don't believe that any of these deities necessarily discriminate. Mm-hmm. But I think that if you're trying to take away, now you don't want to, that's just like if I were to work with Lakshmi, but spit in the face of her people. No, I can't do that. Not going to do that. I don't spit in nobody's face. I think spitting is disgusting. And if anybody ever spat on me, I don't know what I would do. So don't spit on me. You know, I don't think spit is disgusting, but I think the act of spitting on somebody is worse than, I'd rather you slap me in my face than spit in my face. And, you know, that's got to be the ultimate disrespect. You got to really be mad at somebody to want to do that. I would never do that to a person. I would threaten it, but I wouldn't actually ever go through with something like that because I have too much respect for myself. I think that when people spit in people's faces, it just makes them look bad. You'd be like, "Oh, you are disgusting. Like, why you do that? Like you and actually, if somebody's spitting in somebody's face, the person whose face that you spit in, they can come back and they can clock you in your jaw while you spitting. They could be hitting you because that's disgusting. So don't ever do that to nobody. Yeah, don't ever do that to no. Exactly, exactly. Well, as long as you're transmuting that negative energy, it's okay. At some point, you're going to have to transmute it and make some sense of it. I think that that's what that is. It's like, okay, I'm getting it, that. But, if you just constantly in that negativity and you just, everything that you say is negative and there's no end game to it, like, how do people do that? I have no idea. Like even being involved with it, even being next to it or above it, I would sit up here, I'd be like, oh my god, my chest just don't feel right. Like I feel all tight and cracky and cranky and pressed. You don't want to feel like that. Do you some yoga. I know I do it. I've been doing yoga quite often. Sorry guys, I got the burps. I don't know why spirit. Have y'all noticed that when y'all do readings, like a lot of y'all psychic readings on there, out here, or like when y'all, or talking about spiritual stuff, like you just start burping. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, guys, the same narcs that are doing things to you, that are because I mean, and I grew up like that. Like I would see people with these, nice brand new shoes and stuff. And it's like, well, why can't I have none of that stuff? You know what I'm saying? I would always wonder, like, why, why did my shoes come from the thrift store? I didn't understand it. Which, if you have to buy some shoes from the thrift store, like you got to think about you're walking in someone else's shoes. That might be dangerous. But then again, they sell stuff on consignment. So ain't nothing wrong with that because it preserves the planet. Let's look at it like that. Okay, Mother Earth does look at your carbon footprint. Now, back when they used to burn trash and stuff, I don't know why we don't do that anymore. Why don't they do that anymore? They don't, in fact, in some neighborhoods, some counties or cities, it's illegal to burn your trash. Which, why they make that illegal? That don't make no sense. When you think about it, they don't even really want you to have a bonfire. I remember now, just to let you guys know, I do have some people in my family that I'm still cool with. I'm Facebook friends with them, so I'm not down on everybody in my family. But my uncle, he was so cool. He was one of the only uncles that, he just was cool. You know what I'm saying? But he had a bonfire right after the 4th of July, and somebody had called the police on my uncle because he had a bonfire after 4th of July. He said, "This is my mama's property." That just ridiculous. Like what he was doing is safely. Because my grandmother, my grandmother's backyard was huge. It was freaking huge. She had a basketball court out there. My grandmother was doing better than most black folks of that time with 7 kids. My grandmother was damn near like royalty. She was in the Eastern Star, but that aspect of it doesn't harm me. Like, if anything, that gives me favor that my grandmother was in the Eastern Star. If you guys don't know what that is, the Eastern Stars are the female Masons. And so maybe people do have a negative opinion of the Masons. I don't think you should have a negative opinion of all of them. They're all individuals. Like my grandmother was with the Eastern Star, but my grandmother wasn't, crazy and sadistic and doing crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and working on doing your protection and stuff like that, learning, getting the protection that you need and learning how to protect your energy. Because when the narcs are attacking, you can feel the pull. Now, other narcs, when a narc is attacking another narc, you know, they're totally sustained by that. That feeds them. But to an empath, they're pulling on the empath, which is the reason why when they do that, I'm sorry, I go to my other side of myself. I don't stay empathic when they doing that, because if you don't protect your energy in some kind of way, they gonna pull it. They gonna pull on you constantly. And I done seen people today done suck dry, man. And you can tell when it's a good person and they ain't even, but they hanging with these narc people and you can tell they drain them. It's like, kind of like, when men be meeting a woman at a bar, what's a lady like you doing at a place like this? You know what I'm saying? That's how I be feeling about some people. Like, why you hanging around these folk? These people, these bad people. Are they really cool? That is what's up. I need to do a little bit more research on that Eastern Star stuff, but I do know that my grandmother was heavy into astronomy, and my grandmother was a telepath, a very powerful telepath. I didn't even realize it until she passed on and she came to me in a dream and she was communicating with me without moving her lips. And I was just like, whoa, like it was really weird. But, then that's I figured out where I got that telepathy from. And my grandmother was a great mother. She was an amazing mother. Just that I feel like some of her kids didn't appreciate her. And you know what, to be honest with you, when you have 7 kids like that, who's to say how some of them may or may not turn out? Never know. She did the best that she could. And, I know that my uncle, who's now in the spirit realm, he had challenges a lot. And, she was always there for her son. Till one day she said, "Get out of my house." I never forget that day when she put my uncle out. He was like, "Mom," she was like, "Get out of my house." She did. She put him out. He had to go stay somewhere else. And he was 40 something, 50 something. So he was in his early 40s. So, you know, yeah, that addiction, boy, having addiction in your family can really be horrible, because boy, when they want that stuff, they will steal VCRs, they will steal out of your purse. Mm-mm-mm. It's a shame. But, and those of you that came from a narcissistic family that was also, with drug and alcohol addictions, that's like a triple threat. So you was just supposed to be messed up in the game. You wasn't never supposed to go nowhere in life. They already had you pegged as a statistic. And they love their statistics, because people that do statistics, those people, they calculate something and they want to be right. But you can always defy those statistics. People do it every day. I don't know why I can't say statistics. There we go. So get your rituals, do your cleanses. Okay, I still have a couple of openings for cleanses. Okay, also make sure that y'all do that, do the wishing well. Okay, instead of gambling, all you gamblers, do the wishing well thing. That's gonna give you more return than gambling. But I better shut up because see, them casinos start losing money, even if it's 5 or 10,000. They're gonna say, what the hell is going on? Well, sir, these people over here and they're putting money into the Lakshmi wishing well, and Jamila done made some money from that. Oh, we got to shut her down. Y'all think it's funny, but man, it is the big corporations against the little guy. So when y'all doing y'all work and y'all got your own business, y'all better put on there that you protected from them corporations and them religious establishments. I never forget, I went to church and saw a demon up in that mug. I used to see demons all the time in the church. I was like, hey, demon. It was like, hey, demons laugh a lot. That's what they do. They laugh even when it ain't appropriate. It's like, what the hell wrong with you? Somebody just died and you laughing? But technically they say we're supposed to celebrate death. So, but that's still insensitive. That's insensitive to the people that lost their loved one for you to be laughing about it. We ain't gonna go that far. I think it does say in the Bible that you're supposed to celebrate death. I mean, in a sense, because a person is being moved to another reality, but death is hard. When you lose somebody that you love, that's horrible. That's absolutely horrible. So guys, unfortunately, especially if you're dealing with situations like what you've seen manifest with my own personal stuff, you just gonna have to go no contact. Because a lot of times they're all trying to carry out the agenda of that narc demon. You have to be very careful. Not to say that you got to completely shut yourself off from everybody in your family. No, but sometimes there's those secret narcs too. And I know it's hard. I know that you feel lonely sometime, and they done told you, and convinced you that it ain't nobody in the world that you can ever trust except for them. And, they may have told you that as a child to protect you so that you wouldn't just get in cars with strangers. But I mean, after you became a certain age, then, maybe they should have given you the information so that you could go out there and survive and trust yourself. The problem with narcs is that they teach you not to trust anybody, not even yourself. Now that's what don't make no sense. They always want to second guess how you feel about what they've said or done to you. They've been doing that since you were a child. And what that did was that was able to rewire your brain. They were able to rewire you. They were able to basically program you as a slave. And many of us have I don't want to say Slavic because that might be confused with Slavic or Slavic or whatever they call it. Slave families. Many of us came from those kind of very oppressive families to where, the men probably ain't mounting to much or nothing. And, they don't want to see nobody else mount to much or nothing. And, but eventually, how we watched Roseanne for years. Everybody loved Roseanne. I used to watch that show religiously. I love that show. They had it's just the love, you know what I'm saying? But then Roseanne and Dan became rich. And I don't even remember much of the show after that. I know that they broke up or something and, the money ripped them apart or whatever, but they still was rich because Roseanne won like millions of dollars. And I would have to go back and look and see what actually happened. But Don't even let that program you. Every time they show you somebody that's made it and had money, they always show you something negative happening to them. Why do they program us that way? That's just like that movie La Bamba. Remember Richie Valens? It just, when you looked at that movie used to make me cry so hard. It was like, no, Richie, I literally would cry when I would watch that movie. They always show you somebody that has made it, but they die. But what kind of message is that? Especially in the movies. So there's, maybe the death is symbolic of the change, but I can assure you that you're not going to die, because I know for a fact there's a lot of people afraid of money, which means that you're afraid of yourself, because the money that you manifest is your energy. So you're afraid of self when you're afraid of money. Then also, a lot of times when you've lived a certain way your entire life and you were not exposed to certain things, you're going to get in a different environment and have a cognitive dissonance, because you're fighting with two different ideas and two different perceptions and two different worlds, which is the Two of Swords in that tarot deck represents a cognitive dissonance, is basically what it represents, of the mind. And that all comes from the mind. So like, for example, when I did that Gen Hex remover in 2017 and unblocked all that stuff, I thought I was going to die. My stomach got to hurt, my chest got to hurt, my heart got to beating all fast. But see, that may not necessarily happen to you. That was just my way of it, was something became unblocked. It was bizarre. And you don't necessarily have to go through that when you unblock your money. But I had a very powerful block. Almost like if you go anywhere, you just gonna die if you do anything outside of what you've been taught. And so I had to get past that fear. So that's why I went through that. Some of y'all got that same block, but I can assure you that you're not gonna die. Even though that snake, I think the snake said that too. I'm just the devil, ain't I? Telling you the truth. When God said, don't do that or you gonna die. And the snake came by and said, surely you're not gonna die. Well, it's the same thing. It ain't killed nobody yet. They just have you programmed to think that way. But you have the spiritual right. You have the biological right. Like, they can't stop you anymore. You know what I'm saying? They can't stop you. But the blocks are already programmed in you. Y'all got all kind of nanotechnology in y'all and stuff, and all kind of stuff inside of y'all, bugs and parasites and stuff. Yeah. Y'all got that stuck in there. I don't necessarily believe in that, that big old worm that comes out with those colon cleanses. I wouldn't do those. Trust me, when your colon cleanses itself out, you're going to know, because it's going to stink like the sewer. And I've actually had people tell me that they said, with that cleanse, they said, I went to the bathroom and oh my God, it was like a demon came out, and that's what it was. So it came out of your body. When you smell that, it'll almost have a sulfur smell. When your poop got a sulfur smell during a cleanse, that means that something done came out of you, some kind of blockage. And you'll smell it when you're sitting on the toilet. You'll be like, what in the world? It's real. And it's in there spiritually. And the only way you're going to force it out is with fire. And you can't set yourself on fire. See, they used to set you on fire for cleansing. It's a burnt offering. You know what I'm saying? They would set you on fire. That's definitely going to cleanse a demon out of you. The bad part about it is that unless you're actually banishing the demon and you know what you're doing, which you don't ever set people on fire. Please don't. Okay. But they used to do that. I shit you not. That was how they cleansed. If you was somebody that was possessed by demons and you sitting up there talking to yourself and being all weird and yelling and screaming and you got all these stigmatas all over your body, they burn you. They kill you and burn your body. The problem was that they didn't take the negative spirit and do anything with it. The spirit just jumped into somebody else, probably into them. So, I've guys, I do exorcisms on myself. It's gotten easier and easier for me. I've had spirits that have jumped on me or tried to jump in me. It was so hard to say that exorcism incantation. I didn't know what I was going to do, and it took faith for me to get to the end of that incantation. If you are a child of a narc, you were raised and demons were implanted inside of you. They were implanted. Fear, worry, whorism, all that, drug addiction, alcohol addiction, low self-esteem, low self-worth, all of that was programmed in you. And it's still there. Those are the demons. And they tend to take on a physical form in the body, which is why they cause health problems to the victim. That's why everybody got health problems. Even people in their teens got health problems. You can't go out here and brag about being healthy because, they may, people done came up dead with their organs missing now. More than what you think. They over there harvesting organs, especially over there in Chicago. It's real bad over there. So, just know that, witchcraft is not the devil. Stop thinking of it like that. They programmed you that way. Witchcraft is the way out. You just got to go to the right witch. Because if you got a witch that's trying to enslave people, what you think gonna happen to you? See, the one thing about my spirits is that they make people tell on themselves. That don't sit right. I get a bad taste in my mouth when somebody trying to violate the rights of a sister or a brother. You trying to violate that person's rights. You trying to tell them they don't have the right to make their own decisions. You trying to control them. That ain't right. So, I'm sorry, literally for you to be trying to look for freedom from that, and you can end up at the wrong doorstep and get taken advantage of. So be careful with that. I know that for me, my mission is to free souls, not trap them. Now, I'll trap a bad soul if it's a negative spirit that's hurting and attacking people, yeah. But if it's an innocent person that just has dreams of maybe, being a singer, a dancer, a spiritualist, whatever, a famous poet, whatever, I'm not going to say I'm going to take that right away from you. I would never do that to anybody. I wouldn't even dream of it. Why? Because I know how that feels. Because do you know how, and see, Black people know exactly how I feel. A lot of races know how they feel. White people have been slaves too, but not to that capacity. In other countries, maybe there's been a history of white slavery as well. But can you imagine being a slave, wanting a drink of water, but you can't drink it because it's an all-white fountain. So you've got to walk 10 blocks before you can get that water. Or if somebody tells you that you can't sing or dance, the damage done to the spirit is raging inside. The spirit was raging inside of those people. It was, because the first thing you want to do When somebody try to deny you of what you want to do, what do? You want to rise up. You want to say, wait a minute, you're not going to take my right away from me. That's what you're going to say. And that's the truth. There are people from all over the world come to the United States to live the American dream. And they do live the American dream because they're not wrapped up in the American nightmare. Which some of y'all can't help it, just battle those demons. You don't never just do what the demon wants you to do. You fight that stuff. You don't just, somebody tell you something, well, I'm going to walk over there and stand over by there. And they say, no, don't do that. Well, why not? Oh, just because I want you to sit right there. Just right there. What? Yeah, don't go anywhere. Just, so that is comparable to the narc. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think that they know not what they do, which is why people need to quit giving narcissistic people so much power. They only have the power that you give to them, to be honest with you, because if you ask me, a narc is a very weak and broken person. It's that demon that has been powerful. And it don't like me at all. It just snarls at me from its prison. So I put the narc demon in prison. Just recently, not a person, before people get triggered and start thinking I'm talking about somebody. No, I put the actual narc demon that is causing a lot of problems, suffering, and poverty in prison. Like it's in a spiritual prison. Mad as hell. Oh, well. And I ain't going to tell y'all where I put it either, because there's some people that'll try to go after it and look for it. So, you're going to notice, narcissists in action, but why they ain't got no more power? Where your demonic power at? Could it be that several different witches that didn't even know each other possibly was doing work at the same time, but had one mind and was able to do the same exact thing? Could be that. So, and this world is traumatizing as it is, for us to, want the things that we want and then to go out there and get them. And then we're seeing images of starving children. That is something I cannot ignore. And, maybe they're afraid of those starving children. Who knows? So, maybe that's why they starve them, so that they can control them. Still very disturbing. You got to do it a little at a time. Yeah, when you were a kid and you had a very vivid imagination, you were discouraged from that if you grew up in a narc family. They didn't go and get paint and an easel for you to paint. They didn't go and do that. So then you painted on the walls and you got your butt whooped for it. You got an ass whipping. They were told, or they were instinctively, for that demon, they discouraged your creative gifts. They actually discouraged. They wanted to induce trauma. For example, I don't know why. I don't know if I'm Prince's child or somebody's child. Okay. Sometimes I feel like Prince is my father. It's so weird. But I feel like I have a musical talent inside of me. They oppress that like a mug because I know for a fact that I can sing. I was singing one day and I was singing a song and I recorded it. And I listened to myself and I said, dang, I said, I sound kind of good. It just came from my soul. I wasn't trying to sound like nobody else. It just kind of came from my soul. Everybody know I'm an alto. I'm definitely not a soprano, but, so I feel like I have a musical talent. I don't know what my father was tripping off of. I'm sorry, Dad, but I got to say this. When I was like, I think I was about 10 or 11, my father buys me a piano, a keyboard, a big one, like this big keyboard. And I was like, whoa. Like I was just amazed. Took it to the pawn shop the next day. I hadn't done anything bad. I was a very quiet child. I didn't do anything bad. It was there one day and the next day it was gone. I don't. So, who knows what direction I would have went in my life had I kept playing that piano. But I'm not angry at my father for that, because I feel that everything happened the way that it was supposed to happen to lead me to where I'm at now. And that is transmuting that negative energy. Now, if you keep trying to get somewhere and get somewhere and get somewhere and you just blocked at every turn, and it's there and it's right around the corner and your dreams are within your reach, but you just keep, you know what I'm saying, and stuff keeps falling through, then that's when you need to figure out what's wrong, because that's not supposed to happen. You are supposed to make up your mind, focus on what you're supposed to do, and then manifest it. But for some reason, people's minds are being hijacked because it's big business for them, for you to be poor. That's big business. Somebody else benefits off of poor people. I swear to Goddess. And they know it. They know I'm telling the truth. So they tried to make you feel as though you were a burden when that's the way it was set up. That's how they set that stuff up. So, and I'm letting y'all know right now, because I know that a lot of y'all probably been scared for me before, like, ooh, I don't know what's gonna happen to her. Nothing bad. I can assure you that we are free to move about the country. I'm not even joking with you. The world is literally your oyster to go as far and wide as you want. All that stuff is over, but it's the mind game. See, they telling you that you can't. Okay? They telling you, no, you can't do that. Even though they're not going to tell you, they're going to tell you in other ways. So what you guys got to do is you got to learn to manifest those thoughts into a physical form. Which is why, I probably made the mistake by coming and saying that I had gotten approved, because then they probably was throwing boulders and stuff and throwing everything at me except for the kitchen sink. But, that's okay, because, I wanted to let y'all know that I literally physically manifested an entire house for my family. That's a physical manifestation of my work that came from that struggle, because y'all know what I just went through. So now I just got to physically manifest, some money so that I can pay my movers and stuff. I don't like to move my own stuff. I pay movers. I don't do that. Last time I tried to load up all that stuff, I was so sore, and it could have been just because of that house I was in, but it takes too long. It's very tiring. No. I got to have all my ducks in a row. And then also, when you do it that way, you create jobs for other people, which the universe smiles at that. When you making your plans to do anything, why are you making it the cheapest route possible? Why do people do that? Let's rent the cheapest car. Let's rent the cheapest this, the cheapest that. The more you invest in something, the more you get out of it. So, for example, if you go to the store and you buy a cheap steak that's on sale because you want to save some money, then that steak might make you sick or get you at least some stomach bubbles or something, when you could have just spent $5 more or $10 more and got the good stuff, and then that would have given you strength. So something cheap is not always the best thing. And literally, in order for you to manifest money, you have to change your brain when it comes to that. Negative subconscious blockages, they gotta go. They gotta go. And trust me, they're not just speaking it on YouTube, they're speaking it in spirit. They're trying to whisper right in your ear all of those negative subconscious blockages. You can't have that. You can't do that. Why is it that everything that they told me that I couldn't have, I got, but then I'm getting so much more? Why is that? And why didn't they want you to know that? Why did they tell you not to listen to me? Because it is better for them for you to be poor. Like I said, this country obviously benefits off. I'm not, it's very complicated. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to talk about that. But it would be more simple for you to, I don't know, being that money is electronic. Okay, money is electronic, but see, they're not going to open up large amounts of money to people that ain't ready, because some people, remember on what's that show with oh my God, remember when he used to say they should have never gave you niggas money? And it's the truth, because if you give somebody ignorant money, they may go and do something stupid with it. So, y'all know what I'm saying. So that's why they're not really opening that up to people. It's like, if you notice, they not trying to do nothing about the homeless problem. They like tough on you. That's how they feel about the homeless. And which is sad, because homeless people get led to homelessness by those poverty demons. So they really screwed. Out here in this world, you on your own, technically. When you get unless you come to the spiritualists and they will help you. You know what I'm saying? And stop listening to people that say, well, she ain't got everything that she want yet, so they gonna hold on to that to the bitter end. But then what's going to be their excuse when they see that I moved into my house? Then what's going to be their excuse? So they try to tell you, don't support her business because she doesn't have anything. But how the hell do people get anything? How do they get it then? They take it, they steal it. Well, I'm not going to do that. I don't steal from nobody. I feel like everything that I have, it belongs to me. So I don't quite understand that. Especially years ago, they was like, don't work with her because she's on Section 8. But then when I got off of Section 8, they said, don't work with her because she's able to afford an extended stay. Well, don't work with her. Don't. Yeah, and it's like, what? So then how does a person ever get anywhere in life? So it's kind of like it don't make any sense, but that's the narcs mentality. And then when you do get something, because trust me, their success is riding on your failure, the narc. And the more they see that you're successful, the more they're going to try to crack down on you, which is ridiculous. That's why I got them all over there in that hot bubbling pot over there. Ain't nobody got time for that. And I don't like saying that saying, y'all. I'm gonna quit saying that saying because do y'all know the history of that? Ain't nobody got time for that. Do y'all know the history of that saying, where that came from? I'm gonna quit saying that. I'm sorry. Please forgive me because that's actually a very negative. A 911 call operator gets a call from a person that is about to die. And instead of that 911 operator dispatching somebody to save that person, they tell them ain't nobody got time for that and hang up and hung up on them. So, I'm gonna try to stop myself from saying that because that's actually, yeah, that's not the kind of coding or wording that I want to use just because of the history of it. So, anyway, because I definitely got time. I got all the time in the world. Okay. So I ain't got nothing but time. That's all we have is time. And quit wasting your time. Don't let them steal your time too. Yeah, we not using it in that context, but when I heard about that, it was really a sad story. It was, so I was like, yeah, I ain't gonna use that no more. It is what it is, huh? Well, yeah, I'm not using it in that context, but now that I know the history of it, or now that I know where it came from, it's kind of difficult for me to use that saying. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of the flat earthers or whatever, whoever they are, the people that believe in certain stuff, I know they like, well, that's how we feel about Christmas. But that's kind of a totally different thing because, first of all, Christmas is a pagan holiday, which everybody knows. Everybody been knowing that for years. But if you're pagan, you celebrate how you celebrate. I mean, there may be some pagans that celebrate by slaughtering a pig. Some people think that's horrible. Oh my God. But that is what they do. You know, so anyway, sorry about that, y'all. We got somebody with sex on their brain. Okay. Sex is not everything. I mean, it's everything, trust me, but it's not everything. Okay. Sometimes you gotta, yeah. You're very welcome. So, guys, stop letting them take it and stop thinking that, listen, just like I was talking about earlier, if you guys are not able to pay for the spiritual work, start participating in the group rituals that I do. I don't care if you're a part of somebody else's group. So, start doing the group rituals. Those will help you. It'll help you manifest the money that you need to and especially that wishing well. And just to let you guys know, it's not just Lakshmi and Lord Ganesha, even though they are amazing deities that I have a lot of trust in. Okay. But Yemi Ya, she's got a hand in that too. And Yemi Ya is very powerful. In fact, sorry about that, y'all. Yemi Ya wants me to start working with her on more stuff. You know what I'm saying? She's, so um and what does Yemi Ya represent? Well, she's energy. Okay, all deities represent energies or either elements. All right. So anyway, guys, don't forget about that sale that I got going on. It's going to be over tomorrow at midnight. So make sure that you guys get on the schedule because my schedule is filling up fast. Okay. And that way you can get it in if you need it, and then you'll be able to talk to me tomorrow because for some reason it is just a madhouse. Like it literally, I be so busy on the full moons, it's just ridiculous. Just readings all day long. So, make sure that you guys get on the schedule. My 60-minute readings are normally 80. They're on sale for 60. So if you guys want to get on my schedule and get an authentic reading, all my links are below. And then also Cash App me. I love my Cash App clients, okay? I love all my clients, but I like Cash App. At first I wasn't dealing with them because but they cool now. I'm on some cool stuff with them because, at the time, I was trying to use this credit card processor. And that particular credit card processor does not do psychics. They don't take fortune tellers. So, it was some things that had happened and, and I wasn't able to get cash out and stuff like that. But, a lot of that has changed. You know what I'm saying? I had a lot of stuff that was lifted, some blocks that was lifted off of Cash App, but Cash App is cool. So I don't have no problem with it. If I use a credit card processor, or if I use something, you guys can trust it. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, because I've had nothing but good luck with it. Here's thus far. Now, for the larger payments like 500, anything over 300, I can't accept by Cash App because they have a limit. But, they'll just kick the payment back. They'll block the payment. But, as far as for your readings and then even for some spell work payments, you can pay through Cash App. Okay. Anyway, guys, I will see you later. Love and light. Oh, by the way, guys, I do have a business and marketing course coming up. For some reason, there's a lot of people that really need to learn more about business and marketing because every single time I come on here, I am going to plug my website and say that I'm calling in my favors. Okay? I am going to speak the client to me. That is what you're supposed to do. So a lot of people will say, well, I'm not going to actually tell people that I have a business. Well, how the hell people supposed to know that you have a business? Like, what if it's somebody that don't know you that comes by your channel and they don't really know that you have a business and they may listen to just one of your hangouts and you just kind of just not advertise how to reach you or anything like that? How do you expect them to reach you? Like, so, I have very good communication because I had somebody come and ask me a few years ago, why do you always plug your website on your videos? Because I'm advertising my business. So I actually have a background in advertising and marketing as well because I had to do a lot of it when I was in real estate. So, a lot of the regular work experience that I had in the workforce, I apply some of that knowledge to my business and it has helped me to become a success. So if you guys want to be a success in your business and, you're not always, been out of shape and, about your business and feeling like, something's going on and, then, you guys can reach out to me and holler at me about that because I highly encourage people to start their own businesses. And you guys have had all signs pointing to that. But I think that once you have that thought process, but that spirit oppresses it, but you still had the thought process, that was the spark. That's when you need to move in and get your cleanse. Because what it's going to do is you're going to go up from there. Okay? Anyway, guys, I will see you guys later. I love you guys. Oh, by the way, guys, do that Valentine's Day ritual. Because y'all ain't going to get nothing but the best. Y'all better do that ritual this year like y'all did last year. We got 6 days until Valentine's Day. And many of you want love. You want lovers to love you. Okay, no, I have not manifested that for myself, but I do love myself. So it's not just for finding love, it's for receiving love. We're going to do that ritual to receive love from the universe. So instead of you sitting there, yeah, if you're watching a sad movie, like The Notebook just gets me every time. Okay. The lovers like Romeo and Juliet, they were ripped apart, but if you want to, it's a difference between becoming emotional and missing somebody. And there's a difference between that and feeling gutted and feeling unloved and feeling like nobody loves you and feeling like, why am I even here? Or feeling depressed. So especially those of you that are going through depressions and stuff, that basically what we're doing is we're manifesting love from the universe. So maybe I should have marketed it a little bit different, but that's pretty much what it is. I'm not saying that a man is just gonna walk into your front door and say, hey baby, I've got a bag full of money and I've never hit a woman in my life and I'm perfect for you. I'm not saying that because you got to think it's going to take some time for us to manifest a relationship. That takes time because you got to meet the person. You got to, date the person. You got to avoid sleeping with the person so that they don't get confused because men always get confused. So you shouldn't sleep with them right away. You got to take time to get to know them, at least a year. So you got plenty of time for that. Take this time to work on yourself. You said feeling that chest pain again? Hey, Hot Rod Roderick. If you're ever feeling any pains or things like that indicates a blockage. I have several videos on here in which I talk about the chakras. That's a big trigger though for the haters because they don't like when I talk about the chakras because it helps you understand how things work. But it sounds like you have either a blockage in your heart chakra, could be coming from the throat, heart, solar plexus. And the cleanses do not cleanse you of your power. It doesn't cleanse you of your essence. It doesn't, you know what I'm saying? It cleanses you of those bad energies. Oh, you're the original Hot Rod, huh? I'm doing pretty good. I can't complain. Blessed. I am blessed. And I'm trying to bless others. I'm telling you. I've been doing pretty good. I've been feeling free. I feel liberated. My cleanses remove blockages. Just to let y'all know, the cleanses remove blockages. They're very powerful. You can expect that. And can I just give y'all a little tip? If y'all come to me or anybody to get work done, trust that it's going to work. Stop having distrust in people. Distrust is, even if I do the work for you, if you have that distrustful spirit, which I can remove that, distrust, and that's another spirit or energy. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we don't even talk about that no more either. But yeah, that's cool. Anyway, y'all, I will see y'all later. And go check out my website. Now, guys, I'm getting ready to change the look of the website. So I may come back. I'm going to change it because, I kind of think, I don't, I kind of wanted to just put it up real quick so that it could be functioning. But I'm going to actually change my website because I don't really like the color and it's just, yeah. So it's still the same domain, tarotqueenjamila.thedivinemommy.com, but the look has changed because I went through a different webmaster. So I'm gonna go on there and see what I can do and tinker with it to get it more of an earthy tone because my spirits actually don't like that purple. We like the color purple, but we want the earth tones, for some reason, and my spirits resonate with that too. So I got to take the time to do that because I haven't had time. So Yeah. Anyway, I will see you guys later. Thank you for coming. Oh, and another thing, guys, unsubscribe and resubscribe to me is what I want you guys to do. So unsub, just hit the unsub button and sub back because I heard that can, help your YouTube algorithms and stuff because, mine had kind of been messed up by my own doing, just because I was distracted. But, family can be distracting. Let me tell you that that's a hard thing to do. And that's why I know what y'all going through. Because, you'll be in the middle of doing something important and your family following you around talking about, what about when you was 12 years old? It's hilarious, guys. Okay, I gotta go. I'll see y'all later. I almost hate to leave because the vibe is so good. I really don't want to leave. I really wish it was something else we could find to talk about, like maybe if y'all had questions, but I think I'm ready to get off of here and do some meditating. So, you guys can always channel me. Please don't pull on me, but you can channel me and because when I be meditating and stuff, y'all, boy, I be doing the most when I be meditating. My meditation goes all the way out to the spiral galaxy. And I'm going to tell y'all about that. I actually astral traveled to the spiral galaxy, got a lot of, oh man, they gave me so much. And I couldn't stay up there long. I felt like I was going to get lost up there. So I didn't stay long, but because I couldn't hurry up, I couldn't wait to hurry up and get back because, this is home. And so anyway, guys, see you guys later. Love and light.